Welcome to Pep Talk with Bridget Kay.
This hour is presented by Mainstay Financial and Annalee Leonard, who is responsible for the information and opinions expressed during the show.
Hi, this is Financial Advisor of the Year, Jim Brogan of Knoxville, Tennessee. You're listening to Winning with my good friend and colleague, Annalee Leonard.
You're listening to Winning with Annalee. Annalee is a retirement and estate planner, a member of the Ed Slott Master Elite IRA Advisor Group, as well as a sought-after speaker on such topics as income planning, 401k rollovers, and advanced IRA reduction strategies. When not working in her private practice, Annalee joins with other certified senior advisors to promote top-quality services to mature adults in the Pensacola area. Her goal is to help you prepare for and live comfortably in retirement. You can reach her office at 437-3127 or online at mainstaypensacola.com. Or call her now at 437-1620 on Winning with Annalee.
That's the truth. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Winning with Mainstay and Annalee. I'm your host, Annalee Leonard, president of Mainstay Financial, right on the corners of Antes and Perry. And our job is to help you stay on course with something that's very important in your life, your money. I mean, you know, money is a very vital part of life. It allows us to do the things that we want to do and go out and have some fun and take care of those grandbabies and spoil them and, you know, stay healthy. I mean, money is an essential part of maintaining our health. So my job is to help you stay on course, make sure you don't run out of money before you run out of life. So if we can help you in any way, call the office, 437-3127. Make an appointment, come in. It won't cost you anything. If I can help you, I'll tell you. If I can't, I'll tell you that too. I mean, can't ask for much more than that. Today, we are welcoming back our guest from last week, Pete Canavan, who is a master in self-defense. And we had a very, very interesting conversation last week. Just to remind you, for those who were listening, those who weren't listening, catch you up. We talked about the value of having the warrior mindset, and that's kind of like being the samurai who has a mission, and they're going to carry that mission out no matter what. And Pete, you're going to be happy to know I've been looking in the mirror every morning saying, you are a warrior. Being armed with awareness, and we talked about some self-defense types of weapons you can carry. Training for women, and I want to go back to that a little bit today. And talk about that. But Pete has a wonderful site online, LearnSelfDefenseOnline.com, and you can have an online membership and learn some of the things he's talking about. He has written some unbelievably good books, one of which I'm getting for my two nieces, my nephew, who are now in college. It's called The Ultimate Guide to College Safety. What an important thing. And there's another one, College Campus Safety. That's become such an important thing for our kids. You know, we got to teach them these things today. It used to be you could send them off to college and they were good, they were safe, they were happy, but we don't live in that world so much anymore. So, Master Pete Canavan, welcome back to Winning with Annalee, my friend.
Well, thanks for having me back. Definitely have, lots of things we can talk about, and we tackled a bunch last time, and we'll tackle much more today.
I love it. I love it. And I want you to know, one of my clients listened to us last week, and he came in this week, and he said, I heard you've become a samurai warrior. I said, I see you're listening, aren't you? So, see, people do listen to what we say, Pete. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Absolutely.
So let's spend some time today talking about one of the things that really gets under my skin. It's how many scam artists are out there. They use the phone. They use your phone. They use TV. They use direct mail. You name it, they're out there using it. So let's talk about some things that we can do, maybe to help protect ourselves and some of those ongoing scams that are happening out there right now.
Well, that's definitely a huge problem, and I actually have a folder on my computer that I keep, and I put all of the emails, these phishing emails that come in all the time, and I'm sure your listeners are all getting this similar sort of messages that all purport to have some sense of urgency to them. It's like, oh, there's a problem with your account, or there's a problem with your shipment, or there's a problem with your bank, or your finances, or your payment, or whatever. And they all have some sense of urgency to them, and they try to get you to be tricked. It's called social engineering, because it's something that is designed to trick people. You can have great antivirus protection on your computer and anti-malware and your firewall all set up, et cetera. But, you could be an individual, you could be somebody that works for, a large corporation. But if you receive an email and you're tricked into clicking a link, a lot of times you're going to bypass some of that security. And now the email may be programmed to do something. It may launch some sort of ransomware attack against the computer system that you're on. And if that gets through the network and starts encrypting, files, you're going to have a huge problem. And so it's important to recognize, first and foremost, that a lot of these, and I click email first because I think that's kind of the most prevalent that we're seeing, is to understand that, number one, most of these you can spot by checking the email address that it's coming from. If it says that it's coming from, say, UPS about a package, and you look at where the email, came from, it's probably not UPS.com. It's probably, some Gmail account or some other temporary email account. And so that should be something that you can easily spot. Something else is when there are links inside of the message. Don't click on them, but if you put your mouse on top of the link, you can see where that link is going, and it's not going to the place that it's saying it's from.
Now, wait, would you stop there for a minute? So you're saying if you get something and it tells you to go to another site, repeat what you just said about holding the mouse over it. How does that work?
Well, when you get an email and there's a link inside the email, whether it's a button or something like that. I'll give you a perfect example. I got one here the other day. It says, step 1 of 1, activate your card. And it looks like it's from Amazon, and it's an Amazon gift card, right? So it says it's from activation notification, and it's got an Amazon picture of a card in it, But when you bring the mouse over the button that says step 1, continue, it doesn't say Amazon.com in the link. If you look at the link at the bottom of the screen, it says some other, secondhand.com / blah, 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 blah. And it's got this big, huge, weird link to it.
So be careful. Don't click on that.
Without clicking it. No, don't click on it.
Don't click on it. Just hold the mouse over it. Okay.
Just hold your mouse over it, and it will show you where it's going. So there's a great way you could check those things. And I always tell people, don't click those links anyway. If there's something that says, there's a problem with your Amazon account, go to the internet, to your browser, go log into your account as you normally would, and check it that way.
I've been getting a lot of them lately that are coming from clients and friends, relatives. Well, they're supposed to be coming from them. I mean, they literally are showing their name in the email address. And when we have checked the email addresses according to our files, it's the same email address. But it'll say something like, click this, or you'll be interested in this, and it has a click. So the last one we got, we actually called the client, and we said, did you send us something? And he said, no. He said, somebody got my site, and they're sending stuff out from me, but none of it's coming from me. So sometimes the email address can be valid.
What happens is it's called spoofing. And what they do is they will actually either break into somebody's account, their email account, and then download the whole address book. And so now, I've got your email address, for example, If my email account was compromised, you may get an email from me that says, hey, Annalee, check out this really cool website I found. It's all about what we were just talking about, And you're going to go, oh, wow, what's this from Pete? And you're going to click on it. and now all of a sudden you're going somewhere that the hacker, wants you to go to. So those sort of things are very, very dangerous because you're getting an email from someone that you know. And so you recognize it. And this is happening more and more. And people have to realize that this is a big problem, and you must be very careful, and you have to be very, aware of the fact that your accounts can be compromised. You can even have, I'll give you another example. I had a client who got an email from somebody that was on their board of directors. Well, some hacker got the list of all their board of directors off their website because they had them listed on there with the people's email address.
Okay.
So they sent the accountant at the company an email looked like it came from one of the guys on the board of directors, and say, hey, here's this bill. I need you to pay it right away. Here's where you need to send and wire the money to.
Oh, yeah, right. Like, I'm going to wire you money. Okay, good.
But it's coming from your board, one of the guys on your board of directors.
Right.
So you're thinking, oh, geez, he's telling me I better do this right away. Now, luckily, the accountant was like, something just doesn't, smell right here. They contacted the person, and they were like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for like $100. It was like for, $12,000 or something like that.
Oh, yeah. And the one I think people really have to be aware of, too, is the one that comes in a full email about this person who lives heaven knows where in some foreign country, and they've inherited all this money, but they can't get it here, so they need to put it in your banking account. You've heard that one, right?
And that one's been around for so long. It's like, really, somebody just picked your name out of a hat, wants to give you millions of dollars. Really?
Yeah.
You fall for that? I got a bridge to sell you.
I mean, how can people possibly still be falling for that? Evidently they are if they're still sending them around.
I don't know. I really don't. But, a lot of it comes down to you just have to know what some of these scams are. And, they're getting more and more sophisticated by the day.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, you get them from, companies that ship products like, FedEx and UPS. You get them from companies like Amazon. You get them from all these other places. And sometimes, as I said, you can even get them that appear to be legitimate emails from within your company, saying they're from someone you may know that's telling you to do something. What I would tell people is verify. Don't believe what's coming to you.
Right.
Just because you got an email from somebody that you are being told to do something, especially when it involves money. You have to verify that and get the person on the phone and say, look, I got an email here saying I need to send money, a check, wire, whatever, to XYZ in at this address, and that person will very quickly be able to verify whether or not that's a legitimate request.
Yeah, and I know we spend a lot of money at the office having a secure website and a secure email system that we use to communicate with our clients. And this is another cue for people. We always tell them, you're going to get the first email. This is who you're going to get it from, and we're inviting you to join the secure website. So they know that email's coming to respond to it. Once they get that, then we have that extra layer of security. Now, that's not saying, possibly somebody can't crack that, because it seems like these people, they've gotten in the government, they've gotten in the banks, and hopefully all those places are using secure websites. But it just amazes me as to how much information people are able to get. And I think a lot of that is what we're talking about. People become lackadaisical, and they'll say, oh, yeah, that's Joe. Let me just click on this and not double check with Joe. Once somebody gets into my computer or your computer or anybody's computer, tell me some of the things that, and maybe I don't want to know, but we got to know. Like you just said, they could get this whole list of people who sat on a board. What other types of things can they get?
Well, I mean, there is so much information that is publicly available online, and that's the scary part, is that it's really not difficult to find out something about any particular company.
Mm-hmm.
What I've started to notice with some of my clients is that we're starting to see things that are industry specific. And so, you may have a group of, for example, investment firms being targeted, or you have a group of colleges being targeted, or you have a group of accountants or manufacturers, et cetera. And so they are being very crafty in targeting this, a certain segment, a certain vertical market, to say, hey, they use the terminology that is used within that marketplace. I've got blueprints to send you, or, can you review this financial plan that this other planner sent me, to kind of give you an example that may be something that, you could run into. And so they're getting much more sophisticated. Instead of just throwing out a blanket email that says, there's a problem with your shipment or your account, they're getting much more targeted and specific. So it has your guard drop down even a little bit further, because it's like, oh, this is speaking my language, and immediately you're thinking it could be legitimate and not maybe pay attention as much as you should.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I recommend using some sort of secure email, like you mentioned with your system there. You've got a secure email system.
Yes.
There are, and I have a bunch of information. People can actually go. We'll give the address out later, but I have a checklist for cyber securing your network, and it's a 22-point document over a couple of pages that has all these different things on it that you can use to help protect yourself, either personally or professionally. But secure email programs, something like there's something called Proofpoint is one. Data Motion is another. Some people may be familiar with one called Voltage for secure email communications. So if you're dealing, and you don't even have to be dealing with super sensitive information like a financial planner or insurance company or anything like that, it definitely behooves you to use some sort of secure email communication to go back and forth with people, because the risk is going to drop tremendously. You're going to be much more protected, and that the data is has a very low chance of being compromised in transit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know we even add the layer that all of our emails that go through that secure system actually go to our compliance department and to Alpha Star Capital Management, to their securities department. So we've kind of added layer upon layer, and we just won't send or take personal information without that. I might answer a general question, but personal information, you've got to make sure that's being handled securely at all times, because like you said, that, man, somebody get a hold of all of your stuff. I even tell people, if you're going to send me something over the internet, block out your social security number, block out the account number. I know who you are. I've got your information. I don't need that stuff. Block it out. That way when I get your information, I know who you are. I'm just running some analysis for you. I'm not looking into, here's the account number, let me go get this money. And I think we have to be extra cautious. I think even more so now that a lot of people are becoming the do-it-yourselfers in investing on the internet. And they're just getting on their regular computer and going into the custodial websites and doing all kind of stuff. I think we need a bit more security than that in what's going on. I mean, have you heard of stuff like that happening?
You can never be too secure. Cybersecurity is a buzzword that is being thrown around a lot today.
Yeah.
And I've been doing some stuff with my clients where I'm helping them do, cybersecurity checkups, basically, to look for any potential openings or weakness in the security of their network. But that's only part of it. And what a lot of people don't understand, and this is really important that people understand, especially your corporate clients, and that is you have an IT department, okay? And most companies think their IT department is the one that is going to keep them safe and secure and deal with cybersecurity. But you got to think about something. The role of an information technology department is to basically create the assets for the company that are going to make it money or save it money, okay? The role of a cybersecurity department or consultant is to protect those assets. And so if you've got the same people creating the assets are also the same people that are protecting the assets, that's a direct conflict of interest. So it's kind of like the same person is watching over themselves. And that's you can't have that. You really need an independent person that is an expert that can say, look, here is a full cybersecurity plan based on what your company is and what they're doing, and then help you implement some of those things, such as, good data integrity, or using two-factor authentication, or, helping you set up privacy policies and putting, procedures and policies in place, if some corporate device is compromised or lost or stolen. Those are all things that, the IT guys, and I'm an IT consultant, I'm also a cybersecurity person. So having someone that understands the difference there is of paramount importance, because you have to be able to protect the interests of the company and the safety of the company, as well as its employees and the workplace and whatnot. Because you could be a company that has, for example, control over electricity or water purification or something like that. And if your system is compromised and something happens, now you're talking about the safety, security, well-being, and health of those people who depend on your systems. And so that's way over and above just something that an IT department is going to have to deal with.
Right, right. So what I'm hearing you saying, Pete, and tell me if I'm correct, is that basically we can't have too many layers of security anymore. Because you've got to protect yourself, and you've got to protect your information. And if you're a business like I am, and you have clients' information, it's your utmost responsibility to protect that information, because that's the kind of stuff that people get, and they can do really nasty stuff with it. We're in just a couple minutes going to take a break and go to news, and when we come back, I want to delve more deeply into that, because there's just so much out there that we just have to be aware of. And just to synopsize very quickly this few minutes we've been talking now, it's, if you get something and it doesn't look legitimate, if it just has the links to click on to places, if it has a false sense of urgency to it, don't click on it. In French, we say "ne touchez pas," do not touch. Okay, so if it looks bad, stay away from it. Call the person who sent it to you if it looks like it's somebody you know. If it's somebody that you've never heard of, like I know, I'm one of these spastic people. I pay my bills ahead of time. Not only are they paid on time, they're paid ahead of time. So I know when I get something that says overdue bill, it's like, yeah, right. I don't think so. But I get them all the time. This bill is overdue. Oh, if you don't pay this, we're going to cut this off. We're going to cut that off. Tax time. When we come back, I want to talk about the calls that come out that are quote unquote from the IRS. Let me tell you something.
They're out there.
IRS does not call you. They don't call. It's that simple.
All the time.
It happened to you. See, it happened to me, and I'm going to tell you the story. Remind me when we get back about my answer I gave them. They've never called me again. So if you can learn some good comebacks, they kind of put a red mark by your name. Don't call this person. She's crazy. I love it. I love to drive them nuts. I really do. I have such a good time with it. When the phone rings and it's like unidentified caller, it's like, let me answer it. I drive them nuts. I love love it. Okay, I think it's time. Are we going to go find out some good things that are coming besides rain?
Well, the sun's out.
Yeah, but the rain is coming.
The rain is coming. I'm sorry, but it won't stay long. How's that?
Okay.
Now, back to the Pensacola Expert Panel with Bridget Kay on News Radio 92.3, AM 1620.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
And this is what we're trying to do, is help you to win, doggone, and defeat the scammers. Don't let the scammers win. We want you to win. Welcome back to Winning with Annalee and Mainstay. I'm your host, Annalee Leonard, and today we're talking with a gentleman who is fast becoming one of my BFFs.
Right?
I mean, I love this guy.
You always need him on speed dial.
I tell you, Master Pete Canavan, who is a master of self-defense. He's an author. He's an information technology consultant. He's an entrepreneur. He has a website, LearnSelfDefenseOnline.com. He has written multiple books. And I mean, like in your spare time, what do? Just sit around with your feet propped up eating chocolate, sipping wine, right? I mean, yeah, right.
Not wine. I'm a beer guy.
Yeah, a beer guy. Okay, well, that's okay. I mean, but I don't think you have a lot of spare time, and I so appreciate you sharing your knowledge with our clients. And I am going to encourage every one of you. Please go to Pete's website, LearnSelfDefenseOnline.com. Pete, do you have your books listed on that site?
Yeah, my main website is my name, PeteCanavan.com.
Okay.
And that's where you can find out more about me and my speaking engagements and links to a few of the other websites I have, like my Campus Safety University site, which is a resource for college students and their parents and educators.
Wonderful.
So that's, and I also have, as I alluded to before the break, on that website, the PeteCanavan.com site, I have a free cybersecurity checklist and best practices document that anybody can download and really give you some great information.
Yeah, and we'll list that information on our website, on the Mainstay website, and of course the podcast will be on the 1620 website.
This afternoon.
People can go, you can look it up, you can find that. But people, there's information out there we have got to know. This man knows what he's talking about. So I promised to tell you the story. Last year, I got a phone call, and this is how the phone call went. First, they called me Miss Leonard, which I knew they didn't know who the heck I was, okay? So, Miss Leonard, this is the IRS. And I'm like, oh, is it really? Yes, ma'am. We have called to let you know that you have back taxes, and we are sending the cops. That's exactly what she said, not the police, not law enforcement. We are sending the cops to your house to arrest you. I said, are you really? She says, yeah. I said, well, what do I have to do for you not to send the cops to arrest me? She says, well, you have got to, get your credit card, pay us right now what you owe. I said, hold on. I'm going to go get my credit card, but I'm going to get something more important. And she said, what is it? I said, well, I have the phone number of the best-looking police officer in Gulf Breeze. And if you're going to send a police officer to get me, I definitely want it to be that one.
Threw her for a loop, right?
Hung up. Had no idea what to come back with, what to say. It was like, this woman is nuts. We're not going to talk to her anymore, So it was like...
you got to have fun with them sometimes, too, especially when you know it's bogus.
Oh, you have to. I have the best time. I mean, I always answer the phone when it comes across. It says unidentified caller because I know I'm going to have a good time, you know. And they'll call and they'll say, well, we want such and such. And I'll say, oh, gosh, you know, they stopped living here 10 years ago. I'm sorry, you know. And it just throws them for such a loop. And to me, that's what you got to do. But so let's talk about that if we can for just a minute, because we're getting into tax season. And this is when these calls from the quote-unquote IRS start. You know, throw them off guard, get rid of them, but understand the IRS will not call you. The IRS sends you a series of letters if there is a problem. The IRS has its own law enforcement branch. They do not send them out till you have not responded to a plethora of letters that come out. So don't even think that, oh, did I do something wrong? Did I miss something? Doesn't happen, people. Okay? Just doesn't happen. So let's go.
And, you know, the phone calls that you're talking about, I mean, they are another form of a social engineering attack, just like the emails we were talking about before the break. It's the same sort of thing where they're calling you up and they're trying to trick you into providing them with information, either with regard to your identity, you know, your social security number, or with your financial information in the form of a credit or a debit card or a bank account information. So, you know, training and learning about these things, whether you're an individual or at a corporation, you know, security and safety training for your employees is a must. Because it's easy to lose data from the inside as well as from the outside. So, you know, education is key. And interestingly enough, education has been determined through research to be able to improve cybersecurity by about 40%.
Wow.
Simply educating people. 40%. So, I mean, that's something that you just cannot ignore. So, you know, you have these companies and individuals that spend a lot of money on the technology side of it, which, you know, okay, that's great. But if you're not educating your people, and this is part of what I do, is I go out and I talk to companies and I give speeches about this, is you need to educate people on what the threats that are out there so that they won't be tricked and they won't be able to circumvent the security that you have in place. You know, whether it's the computer security from software or it's even the physical security, which, you know, we can't ignore that either. You know, whether it's locking your computers to the desks or, you know, disabling the USB ports on the computer through, you know, server policies that are enforced, you know, facing monitors so that people can't see them when they're walking by or visitors. So, I mean, these are all different, you know, components of having a good safety and security policy at all different levels. You know, as I said, whether it's, you know, an individual in their home, if it's a small company, or if it's a huge company, you've got to know through education and then, of course, by implementing certain procedures and policies to be able to, you know, secure your data and the, you know, the safety and the integrity of your company.
Pete, the other thing I'd like for you to touch on while we're talking about that is, what about these phone calls you're getting? I have had for the last 2 weeks, every day on the home phone, messages left while I am at work, and they are either from Yahoo or Google, and all of my computer is about to be shut down, and boy, if I don't call them back, I'm going to lose all this information. Tell people how to handle those, please.
No company is going to call you and tell you that. And I have unfortunately dealt with the aftermath of clients who have fallen for this. So you get a call and it says that it's Microsoft, and they say, we've detected that software or, you know, spam or you know, bogus emails are being sent out from your computer, and we've received numerous complaints, and, you know, we can help you. You just have to allow us, you know, access into your computer, and we'll clean it up for you.
Yeah, right.
And nobody's going to do that. But unfortunately, you know, people get freaked out a little bit. They think, oh, my God, what do you mean? What's going on? And it's like, don't worry. You know, we can, you know, we've been trained to do this. We can easily take care of this from afar. let us, take care of this. So then they'll log into your computer, and then what they'll do is they'll most likely put some sort of ransomware in there that's going to lock all your files, and then they're going to say, if you want all your stuff back, you got to pay us, and you got to pay us in Bitcoins, because that's untraceable, and you're going to either lose your data if you don't have it backed up, or if it's something that is, something that you absolutely have to have, you're going to have to pay that ransom. And depending on the company, depending on the data, if you don't, you may be out of business if you have no way to get that data back. So you kind of don't have a choice in some cases. And, law enforcement and, the government, they tell you don't pay these ransoms because you're just empowering them, if people keep paying these ransoms, it's just going to let these people know that they can continue to do it. But again, we had that case of that hospital out in California a few years ago where all the patient records were encrypted. And, now you've got lives on the line. You can't get into your records to even know what, is wrong with the patients in the hospital. And they ended up having to pay, it was $20,000 or $30,000, something like that, in Bitcoins to get the data unencrypted.
Gosh. Yeah, so just don't fall for that stuff, because, again, those companies do not call you. The IRS does not call you. That is just not the way it works. The other one we've been getting every day, at least twice a day, we're calling about the pain that you have and the brace that could do so much good for you. And it's like every time I listen to this, I'm like, first of all, what pain are we talking about? And if I don't respond to this brace now, the insurance company or Medicare will not pay for it. They're only going to pay for it in a certain amount of time. And I think they're just doing this by massive numbers, thinking that eventually they're going to get somebody who needs a brace and has pain, and they're going to respond.
Right. They're just shotgunning it out there, and they're sending it out to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. They've got these robo-dialers that just sit there all day long and call. And like you said, eventually they're going to hit somebody that is going to be experiencing exactly what they're talking about. And that person will be like, oh, my God, this is exactly what's happening to me.
Did you know?
I need this.
Yeah, you must have talked to my doctor if you know this. I mean, it's so scary to me, because these people do come across as your friend. They do come across as someone who wants to help you. The phone calls a lot, and Pete, you tell me if I'm wrong on this, but they prey a lot on the people who are of a certain age, because they're again banking on the fact if they call enough people, they're going to get somebody who's home, they're by themselves, they're lonely, they're craving communication, and they start you talking. And once they start you talking...
And they may not be technically savvy.
Hello. So it's they get all kind of information out of you, and you don't even realize they're getting it. We were talking at break about that other call that goes around to the grandparents of, your grandson or your granddaughter's been in a terrible accident. Send money. No.
It's so bad. I mean, it's just so bad that they do that, because now you're getting people really upset.
Yes.
They think somebody's injured, and my God, my grandson's been hurt. I have to help them, and so they prey on your sympathies and and your human nature to want to help, especially someone who's a family member.
Yes.
And these things are all bogus. I mean, if there really was an issue, it's going to be. Like you were saying before, it's going to be a real police officer that shows up. It's going to be a real, ambulance. It's going to be a phone call from your local, fire department or ambulance or something like that. And there will be ways that you can verify that, because you can always say, okay, great, I'm going to call you right back.
Right.
And you hang up and you turn right back around, and then you call that XYZ hospital and say, I'm calling to check on the status of, whoever they just told you was injured. And if they say, we don't have anybody here by that name, well, you can then very readily know that it was a bogus call. If they say, oh, no, we've got him here, then, now you know.
Now
you can, react appropriately.
Right. Or the other thing I've told people is if they say it's your grandson, your granddaughter, tell them again, like you said, you'll call them back. Call your grandson or your granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
They usually pick up the phone and say, Grandma, what are you doing calling me at this hour of the night? You know? But
probably better off texting them.
Yeah. You know, it's like, what are you doing? But they're so, don't react emotionally, think these things through. And I know that's hard when someone says it's someone you love or that the police are coming after you, for goodness sake. That's scary. But, you know, you think about the majority of us. I mean, let's be real. The vast majority of us are just as boring as I am. I can't even remember the last speeding ticket I ever got. I'm so boring. You know, I pay my bills on time, for goodness sakes. I have never, ever in my life been arrested. So why would I all of a sudden get a message saying, you're going to be arrested? But we react in that, oh my God, I'm going to be arrested. The police are coming. I got to do. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's easy, you know, for us to sort of think that way. But, you know, to somebody that's receiving a phone call like that, it's like, well, is there a bill that I never received?
Yeah,
you know?
Is there something I
missed?
Is there
something that I should have paid that I didn't, you know, that I'm not aware of, and now they're coming after me? Like, you start to think, you know, and that's where, like you said, you get your emotions involved, and you start to think, oh, man, this is not good. I need to take care of this. But, you know, what I would tell people to do is just take a deep breath, think about it, and then say, okay, if this were valid, how can I verify this?
Right.
Before you start to react, you know, and take a few minutes, because you know what? If it's something that's that, you know, important, you'll be able to very readily ascertain the validity of it or not.
Mm-hmm. What about, Pete, what about the calls that we get that are XYZ charity, and they're asking for a donation, they're asking for money? How do you handle those?
I say one sentence.
Okay.
We do not accept unsolicited phone calls.
Very nice.
That's all I say to them. I say, or, you know, if it's a charity that I do, you know, donate to, I'll say, oh, I already, you know, gave to you guys. You know, thank you, have a nice day. But typically what I say is, I'm sorry, I do not accept unsolicited phone calls. Have a nice day and take me off your list. Goodbye. And I hang up, and I don't let them say a word.
Very good. Because I think there are a lot of bogus charity, quote-unquote, charities out there. There are a lot of, quote-unquote, charities that 95 cents of every dollar goes to admin, 5 cents goes to the charity. Yeah. That's one thing I always check if I give to anyone, and I hand-pick the places I give to. But if I give you $1, how much of that dollar goes to the charity? That's why here locally I like Impact 100, my own charity E3, E to the power of 3, that educates women, and we literally have saved women's lives that needed health care. 100% of whatever we get goes to the charity, and we never just go out and solicit money. We do events, we educate, and if you want to donate while you're there, that's great. You know, but if somebody's just calling you and they say, oh yeah, 85% goes to admin, man, come on. But I agree with
ridiculous.
You. Just don't even accept them.
No, I don't. I mean, if you want to donate to a charity, that's fine. Research them. Like you said, make sure that a large percentage of what you're actually donating is actually going to the cause and not to these, you know, quote, administrative expenses, because we know that just going to somebody's salary. And that's fantastic, especially like you're talking about this E3 organization that you donate to, does a lot of good, you know, helps a lot of people. That's fantastic. You know it's a good organization. You know that your money is going to be well spent and put to good use. But there are so many out there that, you know, you maybe have never even heard of.
Yeah.
Or you might get some sort of phone call soliciting you to give money to whatever organization, and it might be an organization that you're familiar with, but how do you really know that that's the organization that's calling you?
Exactly. And the other thing I want people to watch, I just went through this with the daughter of one of my clients. we had noticed he was starting to kind of not make good judgments, so we pulled the family in. And sure enough, she went through his mail, and it was unbelievable how many $10, $15, $20, $100 checks were being sent out on a consistent basis to various and sundry quote-unquote charities. He was keeping no track of what he was spending. And it turned out to be literally thousands of dollars that had gone out of the door before we caught him. So that's one thing I want to caution everybody on, too. Remember, if someone is beginning to have a cognitive problem, the first one of the first abilities that is lost is recognition of the value of money. And it's strange, but I've watched it over the years, and I now get permission from a client when they become my client, sign a piece of paper that says, if I think you're being erratic, if you're coming in and just not being yourself, I want a person you're going to give me permission to contact. Because excellent. You got to have that. You got to have that in place. Pete, I thank you so much. Please go to Pete's website. It's Pete Canavan, Canavan. Learn more about him, or go to his other website, learnselfdefenseonline.com. And I want you to know, everybody here in the radio station is going to be surprised, because a year after being on your website, I'm going to come in here like all buffed, you know. I mean,
she's a warrior.
That's right. And they're going to say, she's been listening to Pete again. Okay.
That's great.
Thank you so much. Valuable information. Thank you for sharing. I will tell everybody I know about you, and I'm going to do a whole article on you in our newsletter for next month, because people have got to know what you've got out there. I appreciate you and what you're doing. I appreciate
that. And if you need any help with any of that, you let me know, and appreciate being on the show. And, hopefully, we've let people know a few things that are going to help them stay a little bit safer and a little bit more secure and hold on to their money, right?
Thank you, Pete. Have a wonderful day. All righty. Want to let you know a couple of things that are coming up. Tomorrow, I will be at Providence Hospital Senior Spirit doing retirement income planning mistakes to avoid from 10 to 11:30. On the 14th, I will be at Coastal Alabama Community College the 14th and the 21st doing financial survival for retirement. That's Coastal Alabama Community College in Gulf Shores. Call 251-968-3104 to register. On the 19th, I will be doing retirement income planning mistakes to avoid at Sacred Heart Senior Spirit at Sacred Heart Cancer Center, 9:30 to 11. Call 416-1620 to get registered, or call my office if you want to. Casey will help you with that. Also, my ladies, not being prejudiced against you guys, but remember, E3, Educate, Enlighten, and Empower. That's for the ladies, 55 and over. Put it on your calendars. The 27th of April, our 6th annual day for Women by Women, will be at Sacred Heart Hospital. This year, we're going to shorten our day. We're going to have a brunch instead of lunch. We're going to lower the price to $25 a ticket, because we're going to have a shorter day. We're going to be talking about taking care of ourselves physically. What are the changes we go through 55 and over with our complexion, hair, nails, those types of things. It's going to be a great, great day. Jan from Chico's is going to be there to talk to us about some stuff concerning accessorizing, and you'll love this, making one outfit into 2, 3, or 4. Ooh, baby, I love that one, all right? So give us a call if you need us, 437-3127. If you need information on events, you want to get a ticket to E3, get your tickets now, because this year I think we're going to have a sellout. That's my goal. Remember where that money goes. It goes to help women who need health care. Go out, please, say thank you. Smile at somebody. Take time to talk to them. That's the only way we're going to make it a wonderful world, people. Take care, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.